School circle on the first sergeant.
School circle.
By this.
I do not.
Yes.
Oh, don't worry about it, I got one.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, as far as the FTX tonight, we have noticed a severe lack of proper breaching and clearing when it comes to CP. Alright? It's something we need to put a lot of work into. That being said, you guys know CQB is a passion of mine. Alright? So, we're gonna go through this little sand table with you guys. You guys the proper way you should be breaching and clearing a room, proper sectors you should be covering, and so on. I am hoping Captain Drumheller here will be willing to help me out with it. So we're going to show you guys first what it's going to look like for a two-man breach. Alright, two-man breach is primarily what we do. Most of the buildings we deal with aren't large enough for a four-man breach, but some of them are. That being said, I still want you guys to train primarily on four-man breaches, because if you do a four-man breach, you can sure as shit a two-man breach. Alright, everybody tracking? Alright, now, I'm not going to go over how to fucking stack up and call out your sets, alright? Even the most window-licking fucking crayon-eating motherfucker can understand that shit. You stack up in your file, call out your sets. But from that point on is where it starts to get a little more complicated, alright? You guys need to make sure you are eyeing those doors before you fucking breach it. Captain, if you wouldn't mind stepping back there and showing us what it looks like to actually properly pie a goddamn door. Now notice how far out away from the actual entry wall he gets. Remember, the farther out away from the wall you get, the better angle you can cut and the less of your body that you expose. You need to pie every opening that you're about to go into, alright? And this isn't necessarily just for doorways, okay? If you're going through an archway into a fucking walled compound, if you're going around the corner of a street or an alleyway especially, think of streets as very large fucking hallways, okay? If you're gonna bust around the corner of a building, you need to pie that shit out first. There have been too many instances where guys just bust around the corner and get mowed the fuck down by a machine gun because they don't pie it out first and have no idea that there's a gun or a vehicle sitting down there at the end of the road. Alright, so you need to make sure you pie those doors properly. Once it's pied, then the decision can be made of what type of breach you're doing, whether you're doing lethal, non-lethal, or just a straight breach. Okay? If there is contact in that room, while pieing, you have to return fire. Remember, get the hell out of the fatal funnel. Do not stand in the middle of the door having a fucking gunfight. Alright, return fire, get back into the stack, get out of the fatal funnel. If you drop the guy, great. If you don't, so be it. Now you know you can flash that room, and you know right where that guy is at. So, once the call is made to flash, the point man is not the one that flashes the fucking room, right? He's holding security on that door. Number two man needs to step out of the stack, eye that door essentially the same way, and put that flash in there. Once that flash goes off, that's your cue to breach. When you breach, number one and number two man, you have the biggest fucking responsibility. You're clearing those corners, alright? When you go in, you're going to clear the near corner, and then the far corner, and then turn to the center of the room. This is especially important in a two-man breach, alright? Two-man breach, you clear the near corner, far corner, and then you turn to the center of the room so that the two of you have an overlapping field of fire, so that no matter where a target presents itself, both of you can engage easily. Alright? Captain, feel like demonstrating that with me?
Yeah, let me go over something regarding pieing. You do not always have to pie the entire door. If you see a threat, you get back, and that's when you make the decision if you want to frag and clear, if you want to flash and clear. As you're pieing, you see a threat, you try to pop it. If the threat sees you, raises his weapon, already has his weapon up, you either get the fuck back out or you get across the pie. If you saw me while I was pieing, I pied halfway across, and once I was about halfway across, I went the rest of the way across at full speed. I didn't pie the entire door, just pieing. This is an Arma specific tactic. This isn't the type of thing that we do in real life, but it is what has been proven to be the most effective tactic for room clearing in Arma over the past 8 or so years. So remember that. You know, the amount of pieing you do on any given door is up to the person pieing. You know, once you find that threat, you try to shoot it, you get back behind cover, then you do your breach. I'm ready.
Alright, thanks, sir. Alright, so we'll show you guys what it looks like for a two-man breach. Come in and hit the corners. I'll take point.
Alright.
Alright, I'm not gonna pie it out or anything, we'll just breach it.
Alright.
Alright, breaching going left.
Right's clear.
Left clear.
Room's clear.
Alright. Now notice, one, how quickly we got into the room. Right? Hence the fucking phrase, too in fast, make them hesitate. You give the enemy too many targets to accurately engage. Two, notice how quickly we hit our corners. Alright? Corner guys, as soon as you get into that room, you need to turn and clear that near corner. That is the biggest threat, because that is where you have the least amount of information on. Even if you pie, you're not going to be able to see what is in that near corner. Hit that near corner, then you turn to the far corner. Like I said before, once that far corner is clear, you turn to the center of the room and hold your sector. I called clear, or sorry, Captain called clear, then I called clear. He called the room clear, but that should have been me calling the room clear. The guy that calls his side clear last calls the room clear. But that is how quickly two guys can clear a goddamn room, how quickly they can get in there and call it clear. Okay, obviously, we didn't have any opposition that we had to engage, but had we, it would not have been very much slower at all. Okay? Now, the same principle goes for a four-man breach. The only exception is, in a four-man breach, the number 3 and the number 4 man don't need to clear the near corners. They already have friendlies there. So now, they clear the far corner, and then turn to the center of the room. That is it. Okay? Far corner, center of the room, they're done. They do not call their side clear. The corner guys are the ones that call the side clear. Number 1 and the number 2 man.
Does anyone not understand what the near corner and the far corner are? Everyone here knows what the near corner and the far corner is.
Sir, yes,
If
sir.
you don't, now's the time to
Yes,
speak up.
Captain.
Okay.
Alright. Now, the next thing to point out on this, when you breach, Corporal Rogue, question.
Yeah, for the third and fourth man.
Oh, yeah, first sergeant. I'm pretty sure I'm the goddamn first sergeant in the company.
Yes, sir. Yes, for sergeant. For the third and the fourth man, if there is one, what position do they take while they're entering? Like, where do they stop?
About to show you right now.
Understood. Thank you.
Number 3 and the number 4 man are going to stop midway down the breach wall, or the entry wall, okay? They're not going to push all the way to the corner, because they're not going to want to be stacked up right on top of the fucking number 1 and the number 2 man. So, Captain, if you would, number 3 and the number 4 man are going to fall right around here, respectively. So about center of the entry wall. Everybody tracking on that?
Affirm,
sir.
Now, once you're in the room, at that point, you stay on your fucking wall. You do not move into the room or into the center of the room, right? You move along the walls. Do not cut kitty corner across the room. Move down the entry wall and then up the vertical wall. Everybody understand what I'm saying right now?
Affirm,
Yes,
first
sir.
sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Now, can anybody tell me why it is you do not push into the center of the room?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Send it, Sergeant Reynolds.
Not to step into crossfire from friendly element.
Exactly. If the target were to present itself deeper into the room, or from a hide in the center of the room, or if there were a walled-in compound and there was, say, a broken-down car in the center or something like that, that some assbag could be hiding behind that you didn't catch. When you go deeper into the room, if the number 3 and the number 4 man are in the center of the room before the corner guys, now the guys that are pushing up the outside walls cannot engage because they potentially have friendlies in the line of fire. So make sure that you move along your walls. I will say some of you may have been trained in a different discipline where you move through the room online. Don't do that in this game, alright? It is way too difficult to stay online with each other without the peripheral view that you actually have in real world. It's a hell of a lot easier to move online with each other through a room when you can see the guy to the left and right of you without having to turn and look at them. Alright, so get rid of that fucking process. Stay on your walls. Do not ever move through the center of the room. Next thing I want to cover is that of flagging friendlies. Alright? You never flag a fucking friendly, especially in CQB situations, because it is the most dangerous. Alright? Anybody have any idea what it means to flag a friendly?
I do for Sark.
Stand up. Send it.
It means to point your weapon at a friendly for Sark.
Yep. It means to fucking rake your weapon barrel across them, okay? You do not point your weapon at a fucking friendly. You need to maintain your sector. If the guy in front of you moves into your sector, then you need to move your barrel and then tell him to maintain his fucking sector. Everybody tracking?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes,
Yes,
for
sir.
Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
Alright. Captain? Anything else you would like to touch on?
Yep. Rules for clearing. Always keep in your mind. Do not ever fucking stop. Do not go into a doorway and stop, causing your team to get lined up behind you and everyone gets shot by one guy because you stopped to try and shoot at him and you fucking missed him. Clear your corner. Stay on your wall. Do not cross anyone else's line of fire. Do not cross through the middle of a room until that room is clear. And even once it's clear, you should still stay on the wall while you're approaching the next danger area. So do not stop. Clear your corner. Stay on your wall. Don't cross anyone's line of fire. Fucking write that down if you need to. Those are all the things that I see us doing wrong in CQB all the fucking time. People stop. People don't clear their corners. People don't stay on their walls, which causes them, like, they'll walk in a room and they'll fucking go diagonal straight across someone else's line of fire. It's why you stay on your walls. That's all I got.